Holy
even that,
snap. I just realized we've got the younger coming.
Yeah.
Right? Okay.
Younger is coming. But actually, one of the things I really enjoy besides younger, don't kill me, sorry, is simultaneously they're going to be releasing what they call compunction, which is a pluot sour. And,
Oh my God.
and so it's got this kind of like pinky color to it, and it's delicious. It's so good. And it's so uniquely Sonoma County because like the pluot was a hybrid that was produced here, and all of these, it's just like got a really kind of fun, deep little like history lesson.
What's a sour?
I don't know the actual like
right.
making
sour ale.
Yeah, a sour ale.
God, I have so much to learn.
And there's
How do you
so
learn all
many
this in a
beer
lifetime?
styles.
In a lifetime, there's not enough time to learn about all the wine, all the beer, and all of the spirits in Sonoma County. Like, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, there's a lot. And what's really exciting is that it continues to change and evolve. You've got like more unique grape varietals that are starting to be used as like the forward grape, and like Mourvedre, for example.
Yeah.
And a lot of times like that's like used to blend. Or some other ones that I am not familiar with. And they're more like, traditionally European. So it's really exciting to kind of see that shift and grow as a county. Yeah. And then, you have all of these different beer styles. You have all of these different breweries that are popping up. It's slowed a bit in the last couple of years, but there's still a fair amount that are coming out and making fun stuff. And then you've got all the distilleries. I think there's 11 distilleries in Sonoma County that have tasting rooms, and I think a total of 15 or 16 distilleries in Sonoma County alone.
So to rewind about 12 minutes. You were
sorry, I just like
you were dogging the whole decade, and I think most of what you just said happened in the last decade, maybe.
Yeah, personally, I'm dogging my personal decade.
Okay,
not.
But we could argue that it was a good, like at least the end of the decade. While that last year was a huge challenge for you, right?
Yeah.
But for example, last year was also the first year of the Distillery Festival.
Yeah, I mean while it was a really challenging decade, it was a decade that brought me here. Mm-hmm. So I can't be that mad at it, right?
Plus there was a lot of good spirits to help get through it.
Exactly.
Right?
Drowning her sorrows in booze.
Yeah. So no, I mean, I can't dog it in its entirety, mm-hmm. but at the same time, like I was very happy to send it on its way.
Totally. I don't know. I wouldn't say 2019 was hard for me. I mean, I had a challenging decade as well, but 19, I even remember halfway through the year, a lot of people being like, oh, I just want this year to be over. Yeah. I felt a little bit like that in 18, 19. I wouldn't say I was committed to like letting it go any more than I was committed to like it. So it didn't suck and it wasn't amazing.
Right. It was kind of like this middle of the road.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Also, though, I will say the last couple of months, though, I had this feeling that I was like anxious to get through it because I knew 2020 was going to be the shit.
Yeah. Sure.
And so I wasn't like, oh, 19 sucked and I want to move on. But I just kind of knew this year was going to be awesome. And we're only at the end of January. But the other day I got a text from a friend. He's like, you're crushing it in 2020. Save some for the rest of us.
Nice.
I was like, oh, I mean, January was an epic month for me, for sure.
So 19 was like your season 5 of Game of Thrones.
Oh God,
I don't know what that means.
It was just filler.
Oh yeah, kind of.
Just plot advancement. Get to the next season.
Exactly. Yeah. That was 19 for me for sure. So during the festival, there's all of this stuff that's going to be happening. What are you going to be doing?
Running around like a chicken with my head cut off. No,
probably.
So,
are you creating cocktails?
No, not this year. Though, in my genius, I was like, I should totally do that also. And my fiance was like, no. Like, yes, but no. Like,
why?
Well, not this year. I think he totally is like all for it, but just given the vastness of what that
all the stuff
is going to
have
ensue.
To do.
It's just really not feasible.
Yeah. Next year, maybe you'll have like a big team, and then you can. Yeah. You don't have to sneak around to grab a beer.
I just don't want to make noise.
What? Like anybody cares on this podcast, right?
But yeah, no.
The goal. Close the fridge.
Conserve energy.
Dude. Yeah, there.
Yes, the goal is to definitely have a bit more support in the years to come. Mm-hmm. And what is great is the nonprofit also has volunteers, so like they'll be there at the registration desk, they'll be there running the raffle, so it will give me an opportunity to be on the floor a bit more and interact with the distilleries and the attendees, because like I want to know everybody's having a good time, and and that was one of the things I didn't get to do last year. I was
so what are you going to do with all the proceeds for the raffle?
The 100% of the raffle proceeds go to the nonprofit.
Yeah.
Oh, he's making you.
Which nonprofit is that?
That's called.
This is why Phil's here. He's the one who's like putting all the bows on everything. I'm just fucking off.
Sonoma Family Meal is the benefiting nonprofit for the festival, both for raffle ticket sales and a portion of the proceeds.
So they feed hungry families, or?
Sonoma Family Meal was founded in response to the 2017 Tubbs fire.
Ah, got it.
This we covered while you were out on the phone.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I had a thing.
So they provide chef prepared meals to families displaced by natural disaster, and they have a community food model where they work with local chefs and farmers to produce those meals.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's really great.
It is great. Every year I do the turkey trot in Sonoma. A friend of mine, she started it. I can't take any credit. I've just been attending for 13 years. And it started out just a group of like
that wacky person,
10 of us or something. Anne Marie, when we had her on, she was singing.
Weird.
And so we started out a group of 10 of us, and then after that, it's just grown. And now there's several hundred people who show up every year, and all of the money, like everybody donates, and it goes to Sonoma Meals on Wheels.
Oh, nice.
And I think last year we hit over $10,000.
That's great.
Just from local community members running a little 5K with their kids.
On the down low, yeah.
Yeah, it is super on the down low in the sense that it's not an officially sanctioned event, but they're pretty well connected. They're amazing people, so it always feels good. I think a lot of people can think, oh, there's somebody's doing an event, and let's tie it to a nonprofit, so it looks like
that we care,
right? And it'll sell tickets and.
They're not out waving their arms that we're helping the community, right?
Right. I just think anytime you have any sort of give back model, I mean, it seems so obvious to say, but it's like, of course, it's amazing. And I think people will be more interested to connect with you as an event because they know that additionally there's some other people who are going to benefit it on the outside. And it strikes me as interesting that all events or all things are not tied to some sort of give back model, not for marketing purposes, because it's just the right thing to do.
Right.
It's like I'm here.
It's easy. I mean,
it is so easy. It is so easy. It's so easy. And there's so many organizations out there, especially in Sonoma County, but I'm sure everywhere, that do amazing things for their community members. And to be able to lift that up, even if it's just a little bit, like everybody helps, right? So kudos to you for that. I'm going to buy some raffle tickets.
Ooh.
Right?
Yeah.
I have to find a babysitter.
Well, I mean, and the raffle tickets are also really reasonably priced. It's like 1 for $5 or 3 for $12. And they're raffle items. There's like a gift certificate to the Tonga Room in San Francisco with a 2-night stay. There's a bunch of, other kind of baskets that will be built. We've got a 2-night stay at Hotel E in downtown Santa Rosa.
What's Hotel E?
So it's the old Empire building on the square in downtown Santa Rosa, and they remodeled it into a hotel.
Oh, so
okay. You know where La Rosa is?
Yes, right behind it.
Yeah.
Oh, and that's open already?
Yeah, the one I think it's the second phase, which is the other building on the corner of 3rd and whatever that alley now is named, is still under construction.
Oh, okay. Do you know one of my new favorite things to do is sometimes I'll take my kids on this field trip. Sometimes I go alone. I actually went on a day date on this. Yes.
Day date.
I take the train from Petaluma to Santa Rosa downtown. I walk up to 4th Street and I go to Gerard's Paella, which is like my favorite place to go. And now my kids are like, do we have to go to a paella place? I'm like, yes.
You saw they're closing, right?
No!
Way to bring it up.
Sorry. Gerard had
so sad.
Yeah, he had kind of toyed with the idea kind of right before Christmas and then decided to hold off. And then it just got announced that I think Monday, actually.
Oh, I just went there on Saturday.
Great, you closed that place.
No, I am like their favorite customer.
What did you do Saturday?
Oh, that's so sad to me.
It's unfortunate. It really is.
He does a lot of catering. Will he still do that?
Tons of catering. Yeah. Oh, they'll definitely still do it. And they have some connection to Old Kaz in Rohnert Park. And so a lot of times Old Kaz will do a paella night with their beer. So you can still find it.
Oh, God. She's
nice.
Got the, like,
she's connected.
She's super in the know.
Yeah.
Thanks.
I like the glow of pride on her face. You can't even see it, but she's like, yeah, I'm the shit.
She totally is. Let's talk a little bit about something. You were telling me about a side hustle, the Egan Family Foundation.
Yeah.
What is this?
So my mother and my grandfather were in education in Sonoma County. My grandfather was this county superintendent for Sonoma County schools, and my mother was a principal, an elementary school teacher. I mean, like, name it, she did it, and retired ultimately as the assistant superintendent for Santa Rosa City Schools, and then did some consulting work for the county. And as she was starting to become ill and right before she passed, we had started talking about, forming a foundation to honor her and my grandfather and their work that they did in the community. And so when she passed last March, it was really important to me to continue that. And so that's kind of, and I think part of kind of realizing that I wanted to do that was like also starting to work with like nonprofits in the event side of things.
Right.
And you kind of have this epiphany moment where you're like, well, I should do that too.
Yeah.
And so I was like, well, then I will.
Oh, yeah.
So the idea is, and it's very much still like being worked out, but I think the bigger long-term goal is to have a property that can do events at basically a nonprofit rate. And then that goes back to the nonprofit, and then they go back into the community and provide either like free summer camps to kids or, free retraining educational courses to teachers and things like that. So just trying to like be reasonable in event space rental, which doesn't exist in Sonoma County, and then also being able to give back to the community both at a like educational, continuing education aspect for teachers and professionals, and then also give back to students and, it's kind of like a big full circle picture.
Totally.
And honor their legacy. Right?
Yeah.
Well,
honor their work.
Yeah. Yeah.
When in New York, I was interviewing somebody who has written a book on the education side, and we were talking a little bit about that whole thing. And one of the topics,
who was that? Can we talk about that?
Taruka Lavelle.
Okay.
She was lovely. And I would, especially because you have an interest in education and a background, and at some point maybe you'll have children, and
that's the goal.
It's a wonderful book. You should read it. In fact, you can have my copy if you want, or you can borrow it because I want to buy it.
Sure.
She was lovely. But one of the things that we were talking about was the continuing education for the educators as well, right? And, and so when you just touched on that, it's like there's so much in the States in general, but in California especially, that needs to be fixed in that whole system there. And just to have people who are thinking about it. And one of the questions I asked her was just like, how does this happens in any sort of like issue that people want to try and fix the system, whether it's climate or whether it's immigration or whatever. But the one person always feels like, it's just me though. Like, how can I make a difference? How can I make a difference? And then everybody says the same thing and nobody makes a difference. Right. And
right.
It's like,
it's taking that step.
What I'm trying to go back to is like, she kind of brought me down to this idea is like, and somebody else had told me the same thing. You don't have to change everything on a macro level. Like you have an influence even in your small community or even in your home. Like, so if what you're getting out of the system in education is not working for your family, you have direct access to your children to change that experience. Right. And so in order for all of us to make change, we could all come back down to, yes, you can.
I have
you
little
can fix
people.
my children. Yes, you can.
Well, I have little people of my own.
You do. So bring it down to whatever bite-sized version you can do. Like if you're somebody who has influence and can go big, great, go big, start a movement. But if everybody could get into that mindset